February 24th, 2025. I'm back over here at Adams Elementary, subbing 6th grade today. And we just got back from President's Week, which was all last week. I subbed for the 6th grade class before. They were one of the best 6th graders that I subbed for. And so much so that the adventure this morning was kind of a bit awkward silence. After flag deck was music, and there's like a 10-minute interval in between. So after attendance, I had to find something to do for 10 minutes. So I showed a card trick. I asked how their week was last week. I played the Name Impulse Icebreaker, and finally it was ready for music. So I went over to music. I asked the music teacher at the piano in their works. So I was playing a little AJR on the piano. I'm actually excited for today. It's fairly easy. They have a performance task, but I do get to help with math after recess and after lunch. And the teacher was in here this morning giving me the rundown of everything, and she said the last time I was here, the students really enjoyed when I taught the math lesson and helped the students understand math. And so a little correction, as I was filming this, the teacher walked in and had to switch a couple things. So the performance task is after PE, which is after lunch, and then the math was moved up there, so I get to teach a math lesson right after music. And they're starting to learn about algebra, equations, variables, and all that. And something that we all found out during flag deck is that there's an evacuation drill at 2:30. So it's going to be quite a day, and I feel well prepared. And so let's just say the math lesson went perfectly. It was amazing, just setting up variables and finding out how all that works and variable expressions. And then after recess, I was teaching more math, more about one-step equations and solving for the variable. And later on, I couldn't help but create a scenario where you could use a one-step equation. It was 11:29, and I knew that the reading was done at 11:45. So 29 plus m equals 45. Of course, I didn't just put it up on the board like that. I walked through it. But here's an example of how it's done in real life. So math isn't just numbers and letters on paper, it's actually meaningful. And the students were understanding that, and there's a couple of students that were asking very, very good questions, and that helped enhance the learning for the rest of the class. And then afterward, the students were getting in the reading groups, and one student I was tutoring the math because she needed extra support on the concept. And then speak about tutoring, I'm tutoring Algebra 2 this afternoon. I'm a math tutor and usually tutor 6 days a week. So after lunch is PE, then the performance task, then the evacuation drill, and then the closing, and then we're out here. So I really enjoyed the day. The class was amazing. So I'm sure that the rest of the day would go smoothly, and looking forward to next time. It's February 25th, 2025, and I subbed at Whittier Elementary earlier today, but I wasn't able to do any filming, not even B-rolls, because I had quite an interesting day. I was a roving staff, and there was a lot of us, and most of the day we just stayed in the lounge and just waiting to be called to an assignment. So we were on standby mode, and this is because unfortunately there's a 3rd grade teacher who just died a couple days ago, and I actually knew this teacher. I saw her, I met her when I subbed in the past, so it's very sad news. So they brought in like social workers and people to help counsel students from the Orange County Department of Education to help talk to students if needed. So today I just stayed in the lounge, and I had recess duty and I had lunch duty, but toward the end of the day I stayed in a 2nd grade classroom to watch a student, and then that was pretty much the day. So kind of a bit sad news, but it was quite an interesting day as well. During lunchtime, I did show an illusion sleight of hand trick to a few students while they were eating lunch. At the end of the day, they were asking to see another trick, and they were saying thank you for the trick at lunchtime. A lot of them, one after the other. There was one time during recess when a person came up to me who worked there, and she's like, I know I've seen you before. Are you on Instagram? And I said, yes, I post about autism. And she's like, that's where I saw you before. Apparently her son is a 10th grader at Corona Del Mar High School, and he has autism and is doing well, and so I was just being an encouragement to her, and so I really appreciate her coming up to me. And speaking about social media, there's a student that came up to me saying that he watched a recent video when I went to Whittier and talked about it. And then there's another student who said that he saw one of my Chuck E. Cheese home video from like 1999 or 2000 from back in the day too that I posted. So that's kind of how the day went. And now I'm walking over to tutoring. So I have 2 hours of tutoring and then youth group tonight where I intern at. And I know where I'm going to be tomorrow. It's February 26th, 2025, and I'm over here at Mariners Elementary subbing elementary music today. And so I'm planning on pulling a few nursery rhymes and patriotic songs and playing them on piano and putting the lyrics up on the screen. And then the teacher gave me a few YouTube videos for them to sing to, like St. Patrick's Day theme and also 50 Nifty, which is what they're going to do in an upcoming flag day. And that song takes me back to when I was in elementary school at Newport Heights Elementary, some like 20 years ago. And the first class was kindergarten, and it was something. The students were very full of energy, loving to jump up and down and screaming and hollering. So I just had to round them up like a dozen times. So they were jumping up and down and some were running across the room. I had to tell them to stay on your spot. And so that whole ordeal lasted over a half hour, but you know, by the end I think I rounded them up pretty well. I got them quieted down, gave a little lesson about making good choices, and then showed a card trick and played a little game on the keyboard. So they were good at the very end, and then their teacher came and then they were off to an assembly. I was playing nursery rhymes on the keyboard for them to sing to. I put up lyrics on the board, and then one of the students came up to me saying that they all can't read yet. I'm like, duh, I should have remembered. But you know, those who did sing good. And then the first graders just came and went, and I was getting a little hopeful, but no, it was just like the kindergartners, and I just had to round them up and say play the quiet game for 3 minutes, and it took like 20 minutes. Afterward I had to tell the teacher exactly what was going on. She completely understood because that's how they treat her too. And there were a few students, like half of them, that were very good. I still employed some SEL and said that, you know, I believe in you guys and you could do it, just make better choices. And the teacher was telling them to apologize to me, and they were. And you could tell with their countenance that they were truly sorry. And I repeatedly said, I forgive you, just make better choices. But I came here expecting this because I knew I was going to get the lower grades. Final one coming up is TK after the lunch break. And they were actually very good. They were probably the best, relatively speaking, of all the 3 classes today. And that happened at a couple of other schools where the youngest ones were actually the best ones, relatively speaking. So overall, I'm glad that I'm here today regardless. I mean, it was a great and melodious day, and I got to talk with the principal during lunchtime, and I told her that Mariners Elementary got a little feature on Fox 26 News in Houston, Texas. On January 20th, I was interviewed for about 20 minutes, and a few minutes of it aired last week on television, but the full interview is on their website, and I'm going to upload it in a couple of weeks. But I uploaded the news segment on my YouTube channel yesterday. Well, anyway, I'm glad that I was here over at Mariners Elementary, and I know where I'm going to be tomorrow. It's February 27th, 2025. I'm walking down the street to my next assignment, which brings me back to my student teaching days, which is right over here at Ensign Intermediate School. I'm subbing a special education class today, which is right here in room 54. This is going to be so nostalgic because this was my special education class when I was in 7th and 8th grade here, some like 16 and 17 years ago. So I have a lot of memories in this room, mostly good memories, but at any rate, it's always good to be here. So I'm about to read the subplans and find out what I'm doing today. Apparently there's periods 1 through 7, basic skills, history, and math. Also, peculiarly enough, there's like 10 teachers out today. So the day's going okay so far, just very mellow. The classes are small, about 8 to 12 students per class. The basic skills in the math periods went good. Some of the students had tests, and other people were studying math or studying exponent laws, like when you have the same base and you have to add the exponents or subtract or change the negative to a positive. And then 8th period is prep, so I'm done after 7th. I'm actually going to be here next Monday, and I ran into the teacher a couple of doors down. She teaches math and science, and I subbed for her a few months ago, and she's happy that I picked up the sub assignment. Anyway, I'm sure that 7th period would go well, and I know where I'm going to be tomorrow. There were a few students today who said that they saw my transit shelter ad for my second book, Unstoppable. And then there was another student who came up to me today saying that he read my second book, Unstoppable. It's February 28th, 2025. I'm over here at Victoria Elementary again, subbing 3rd grade today. And the day is going good so far. Earlier today, the principal gave me the rundown of how the class is, and this class just needs a lot of managing, a lot of reminders, redirection to stay seated, and I'd say the class is very good as a whole. It's just that extra discipline to stay seated and not talk. But other than that, it's a good day. One of the students recognized me from the woodland assemblies that I did on April 15th. So now he comes here, and so he was saying that he remembers me. And even though this is my third time here, some students last year who were in 4th grade remember me. And of course, the principal remembers me, and he's glad that I'm here. And this morning after flag deck was muffins in the morning, they called it. A lot of parents of the students were in here to read with their child, and they brought in muffins and juice. And at lunchtime, there were a couple of students at the school who asked me to take a shot in basketball. It took 2 tries, but I got a 3-pointer. It's been years since I played basketball, but I do remember some tips, so I was teaching them some tips. So I feel very blessed and grateful for another full week of 7. Remember that disability or not, anybody could do whatever they set to their heart and mind to do, as long as it's practical. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So the first song, kindergarten. So the first class, kindergarten, just came and went. Can't give a straight face now. Also peculiarly enough, also peculiarly can't even pronounce that word. Also peculiarly enough,